All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Post Game Podcast, a podcast where I'm sitting down with former athletes to share their stories and talk about life after the game in business, entrepreneurship, and much more. Today's guest is a 24-year-old founder of Out2Win, a marketing platform that uses AI, not Allen Iverson, artificial intelligence, to match brands with athletes. He started the business while still a student at Syracuse University and has persevered despite wanting to stop several times to the point where he's now raised $1.3 million and is widely viewed as a leader in the space. His name is Jack Adler. So, Jack, thanks for coming on, man. This was awesome. Had the chance to do this podcast in person with Jack a few weeks ago. Quick shout out to the Philly podcast space in Philly, who do a great job with these and have an awesome studio. So in the episode, Jack shares the origin story of Out2Win, why he never quit on it. He gets into the current landscape of NIL and how it's evolving in his eyes. And he also gets into some of the specific college athletic programs that you may not expect as being the most marketable. So regardless of your thoughts and personal opinions on NIL, I think what Jack is building as a 24-year-old is just super impressive. And I appreciate him coming on to share it. So thank you for tuning in. Give a quick plug for the newsletter that I'm putting out there every week as well, the post-game newsletter on Beehive. Feel free to subscribe to that, and please share this episode if you enjoyed. All that said, appreciate you tuning in. Please enjoy this conversation with the founder of Out2Win, Jack Adler.
We're live? All right. Jack Adler, how are you, man? Thanks for joining me here in person. Philly podcast space. So
where even are we, man? How do we transport here?
Yeah, this is not Riverside. No knock against Riverside, but this is good stuff. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time for this. We talked a little bit in the hall and everything, just about the journey of Out2Win, and happy that we connected through SBL. Free shout out for the SBL guys,
Yeah,
but yeah, dude, I kind of seen what you were doing and then didn't really understand it at first, but the more I've kind of taken a dive into it, it's like you're leading the charge of a super interesting time in NIL and just running your own business. So yeah, dude. Anyway, rambling there, but thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited. I think we're gonna have a good conversation.
Yeah. So how about just the origin of getting Out2Win started? You go up to Syracuse. Well, first you chose not to go to Villanova, just right down the street from you. You go up to Syracuse. What were your interests at that point aside from sports? Do you have any idea that this would ever be a thing?
To be honest, I was I was super lazy growing up. I was not that kid that is just entrepreneurial his whole life and just takes it all the way through college. I mean, I'm a sports fanatic, and when I'm not watching sports or playing sports, I'm usually playing video games that involve sports. That was my life leading up to college. And don't get me wrong, I still do a lot of that.
Normal high schooler.
Yeah, when COVID hit, I feel that's where a lot of cool origin stories all trace back to in this age. COVID hit in 2020. It was my freshman year of college, and I was forced home like the rest of the world. Well, in college, you're literally forced to, exit your dorm and go back to being locked in your childhood house.
Yeah.
And I got super bored to the point where I was I need to do something to keep myself entertained. I mean, this is dating back to even before the Out2Win origin story. This is my entrepreneurial journey origin story. I started a fundraiser in 2020 with my twin sister, who lived a room over from me in my replacement dorm for months when we were back from college. And we started a fundraiser that urged people to donate money on social media. Pretty much said, if you tag 3 friends and post a story on your picture of something you can't wait to get back to after quarantine and donate $3, let's create a domino effect of raising money for a good cause. Within 3 to 4 weeks, we raised over $80,000 through $3 donations for different charities. long story short, it sparked this entrepreneurial bug in me to just want, like, I realized for the first time in my life that I could take an idea that I had and turn it into a reality. And I'm sorry, because that's not the origin story of Out2Win, but that's the origin story of my entrepreneurial.
Just trying to do some quick math there. That's
a lot.
That's a lot of people donating $3.
It was really cool just to see like how social media, like we knew social media could enact viral movement, but it was kind of like my test to see if social media could enact positive change in the same way that it can, get a bunch of people to like post a happy birthday or post and other types of challenges that have gone viral over time. And for a little while, we actually tried to like build something further out of it and partner with other nonprofits to help them enact viral social campaigns. And then all of that led into me realizing this passion that I had for sports and how I could combine it for this newfound passion for entrepreneurship and marketing.
Okay. Wow, I did not know that was kind of the start of.
Yeah.
All right. That's really cool, actually. So, okay. So then at some point you get back up to Syracuse, right? And kind of, sort of back to normal, I guess. But you're Out2Win, like, so you're back. Yeah, you're back there. How did you think to start the platform Out2Win? Because what it is now is not how it originally started, right? It was like NIL was becoming a thing. Yeah. We'll steal your thunder there.
No, it's funny because obviously I talk about this stuff a lot, but just as I'm thinking about it, like there are, different iterations of the story that I give in a sped up version to like just get through it. But the real way that it started was I was running something called Syracuse Sport Business Conference, which was pretty much a hack for me to network. Like that's the truth of what it was. But what it really was it was a forum where sports business executives would come on like a podcast like setting. I would interview them and we would get a group of students to come listen to it. And the reason that it was a networking hack was because my outreach to guests that I had on, like Ian Eagle and Mark Sanchez and Jordan Schultz, all these like legendary sports business execs, was, hey, do you want to come speak to a group of aspiring sports business professionals at a school like Syracuse? Mm-hmm. It was an honor to have the chance to come speak for 30 minutes with me to a group of students. So I had the chance to build a really strong network through that. And
so you were the moderator of that pretty much? Like you would interview?
My title was, I was the chief operating officer of this student run organization. Okay. So I would switch off moderating with like one or two other people. So yes, I was moderating most of the episodes. I was leading a lot of the outreach, and pretty much all of that dominoed into the passing of NIL legislation in 2021. And I realized, so first the idea was, what if we brought athletes onto a podcast to have them talk about NIL? Mm-hmm. And that was what it all started off as. All right, Syracuse Sport Business Conference is going to expand into an NIL edition as well. And then me and someone else on the team were like, wait, NIL just launched. None of them have any NIL experience. What are they going to talk about? So how about instead we help them go get their first NIL experience? Let's get involved in the space and figure things out. No real direction or idea other than let's get involved in this brand new, exciting opportunity of a space. So that's like kind of where it all stemmed from. And it was literally just me and one other student at Syracuse, Sam Holland, who was my initial co-founder of Out2Win, launching this concept of let's help athletes partner with brands locally around Syracuse.
Yeah. Okay. So NIL, so I graduated in 2017. NIL, that wasn't even close to being a thing at Seton Hall. Like, yeah, we were, I don't know. That's what I always joke. I'm like, it would have been nice to get a free hoagie or something down in South Orange. Like so maybe you could talk about the background of NIL and almost what it is. Cause that's what I was listening to somebody today that they're like, everybody says it's the wild, wild west, but now it's an established industry. Like it's very established pretty much. But yeah. What are your thoughts on like, what is it?
Well, it's a really tough question, even for someone who's been in it since its inception, because there are like it's an umbrella phrase for so much that all falls under this one phrase of NIL, where I see a lot of people see it broken up into two different sides. There's influencer marketing, at least that's just like the easiest umbrella to give it. And there's, for lack of better words, pay to play. It's rev share, paying athletes to come perform at a high level on the field, on the court. And then the other side of it is brands, for the most part, paying athletes to drive a return on investment within their marketing budget. So it's two very different styles of compensation that all fall under this one umbrella term. So it's hard to answer that question in like one sentence. It requires it requires some further context, but the space that we're involved in at Out2Win is this influencer marketing side and helping brands make the correct investments in the right athletes.
Yep. So how has Out2Win evolved? So like you're at Syracuse and then you stayed there, right? They basically asked you to stay there because you had created this platform essentially.
Yeah, really, I guess to take you through the phases of it. And again, like this is often I give a sped up version, which is I started Out2Win as a junior at Syracuse. We helped athletes get deals. Fast forward 2.5 years, we're working with Oakley, Reebok, and Nerf to help them build their first ever NIL campaigns. That just sounds cool and it rolls off the tongue quick. But the reality is there were 2.5 years before we got to partnering with those brands of a lot of struggle, a lot of confusion of what were we even doing. And it all started with helping athletes get deals where we would represent them as if we were their marketing agent. And what we realized was so much of the money flow, I mean, it was brands paying athletes, and the more brands that we could get within our Rolodex, the more revenue we were going to generate as a business. So we took a step back and looked at the big picture of the space and said, what if we partner directly with brands and help them partner with a non-exclusive network of athletes that we build up, as opposed to us being the exclusive athlete rep for specific athletes that we were then inherently pitching with bias because we were just trying to get that athlete a deal.
Yeah.
Instead, we said, let's help brands find the right fit for the goals they had behind a certain campaign throughout this growing non-exclusive network that we had built across all different schools around the country. So that's where Out2Win then evolved to, where again, over 2.5 years, starting working with small mom and pop stores and brands like Karma Sauce, Hot Sauce, and SYR Clothing, evolved into helping brands like Nerf and brands like Oakley find athletes across different campuses that could well represent them on social media. And that was what we were doing for I guess the remaining year prior to the launch of this new platform. Syracuse saw what we were doing on their campus, helping athletes get deals. And the main focus that we were taking was helping create the strong content behind those concepts. And Syracuse was looking for ways to help their athletes better build their own personal brands. So our partnership with Syracuse was built around helping athletes evolve their brand into something that was appealing to local brands that wanted to activate sponsorships, and really just help build this incredible NIL ecosystem at a school that was battling in an arms race to try and win over recruits.
Yeah.
So that's what we did for the year. And in the background during that year, I was recognizing all the tailwinds within the ecosystem of NIL leading towards this influencer marketing approach that more and more brands were dipping their toes into, and realized that they didn't have the right resources to do it the right way. So that was really like the origin of the development of this athlete marketing intelligence platform that takes an approach at the NIL space as if we're helping brands build an influencer marketing campaign. Just happens to be with college athletes.
Yeah, dude, it's really interesting because especially now, I mean, everybody's on social media. Like, you see some of the numbers that were on this. What was the report? The industry report. Or whichever one it was. The Fall 50. Like, some of these college athletes have 1 million followers, something like that, and then the engagement rate. So, the one thing that I was wondering about, do you think that every college athlete? Well, actually, that's probably not a great question. just the importance of having an Instagram presence or a TikTok presence. Is that table stakes almost for some of these athletes? Like that's the main way that they can drive eyeballs and can get some of these brand deals.
Yeah, I mean, the era that we grew up in we're living in like I don't even know the right word to use, but like the rollover into this new generation where social media is essential, and it's used in the same sentence as a personal brand, at least in relation to the space that I'm in NIL, because that's where the brands are investing their dollars. That's where they're, in most cases, trying to reach their relevant audience.
Yeah.
So like, to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it really has become table stakes. That's where you announce your commitment. That's where you show the behind the scenes of your
highlights and everything like
that's
that.
Your highlights.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's where the brands are investing their dollars. That's where all of this generation seems to be investing their time, backed by data. So that's, if you're an athlete and you want to optimize your NIL value and bring in as much opportunity for yourself as possible, then it's going to start on Instagram.
Yep. So I kind of jumped ahead there because one of the things we were talking about before is like a lot of this stuff is, by a lot of this stuff, I mean entrepreneurship and building a company, and a lot of that is put on a pedestal, and especially on LinkedIn and everything like that, it's almost, it seems a lot easier than it actually is. But we were texting and you were like, what, one thing that I don't really get a chance to talk a lot about is that I was going to stop along the way, like quit. Yeah. So I guess like, why didn't you quit? And then maybe what are some of those things that, might be glorified that people like don't really understand behind the scenes? Yeah. Just that journey.
You said it, like LinkedIn it's really great for the opportunity it brings to entrepreneurs like myself. I think a lot of the business that we've been able to bring in has been thanks to just the organic reach of LinkedIn, but it also it puts such a glamorous look on the life of a founder, of an entrepreneur. Even for myself, I mean, I only post a lot of times about the big partnerships and the funding rounds and this and that. Like, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that's not posted, a lot of the struggles, and dealing with that as a solo founder is really difficult. And that's what I was dealing with over a year and a half, 2 years, while trying to build a business and not seeing the traction that I wanted to see. So, we just passed our 4-year anniversary of Out2Win. So been building this now for more than 4 years. And for the first 3 years, I mean, I don't know, we weren't really generating the type of revenue that would have allowed us to take this into, I remember I was building this while I was a college student as well. So I was doing this part-time while taking classes, and there wasn't as much pressure put on having this, turning into a revenue generating machine that could be taken full time. And all of a sudden I was put in a place where if I wanted to go make that leap, it was going to have to turn into a business that I saw as lucrative and scalable. So a lot of changes were made, hence this pivot into building the athlete marketing intelligence platform. But prior to even coming up with that concept, I spent months on a whiteboard trying to figure out how could I leverage all of the traction. And a lot of that traction, candidly, was in branding, was in learnings. It was not as much in revenue. How could I leverage that traction?
Sounds like this podcast, actually.
Yeah. How could I leverage that traction into a scalable business that I can go take full time and pursue my dreams? And I really struggled to, like, from everything that I learned from looking at every angle of the space to turn that into something that felt scalable until, I just continued discovering, continued having conversations with stakeholders in the space and realized this gap that seemed to be becoming wider and wider, which was data intelligence helping inform smarter partnerships. And that was the origin of this pivot into the athlete marketing intelligence platform, where, like, fast forward to that moment in time, by no means was it like an aha, like, we got it, this is what it is. It was like, all right, like as a team of one, I'm now pivoting after having a team of up to 30 behind me at a time in Syracuse to go and try and achieve what at the time felt really far-fetched. And it is cool, like a year and a half, 2 years later, to look at like myself and that mentality then to where we've come now. It's definitely a long way, but still hopefully a long way to go.
Yep. Where did Out2Win come from? How'd you name it?
Yeah, that's not a great story. Honestly, I was just doing a ton of researching for like trying to find like names and words that stuck. This was, me back in I'm 19 years old back in 2020, trying to figure out like a name that sounded cool. And we just came up with Out2Win.
Okay. Sometimes it can just be simple.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to have a great story. But yeah, dude, what you're saying, like how it's pivoted and evolved, I'm wondering about that a little bit because, right, like you can just keep going down the track that you're going with anything pretty much. At some point, you might come to a crossroads and be like, all right, I either am going to stay on this and keep my head against the wall or I'm going to pivot. Is that, like, what were some of those decisions like? Was it, I'm sure you had people that you were going to advice for, but you have to pull the trigger at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I never really, I guess I was always motivated by this dream that I had to build a company into something that I could take full time outside of school. And I wasn't going to let myself just give up on it. So I was always, I was battling to keep it alive. Like that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like I had a internal deadline of when I had to make a decision of, is this sustainable to build full time, or am I, going to go get a job in the meantime that I was able to build this in the background of. And that was like the extra year that I had at Syracuse while helping build this NIL program in the background. That was like this runway that I had to go build the athlete marketing intelligence platform, which we successfully were able to build a prototype and get our first letter of intents from customers, and then raise at first a $250,000 round that just allowed us the capital to extend our runway some more. And then it kind of just became a process of like extending runway. And then at the beginning of the following year, we went and raised, off of now having 50 or so paid customers, raised a $1.3 million round, which is, at the end of the day, it's all like extending runway to allow you more time to go build a profitable machine. And that's where, like, now, about over a year into building the business, we've surpassed $500,000 in revenue in that first year since launch. And now it's just like extending the runway and continuing to give ourselves more room to just boost our presence in the space to where we can really, just continue to take off.
Just keep going. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What was that? How old are you about? Are you 20?
24.
24. Okay. So you're raising this money at least a couple of years ago when you're you're still very young.
Yeah.
Just what was that experience like, going out and having to raise money
for the first time? Especially, it's just scary because you don't even know like the right way to ask for a meeting or to like what to even say in that meeting. I was 23 years old. We had $0 in revenue, and I was going to people asking them to, write a check into this dream.
No revenue. You had zero.
We had zero revenue behind the platform. We had revenue from our past life as an agency, which definitely gave us a lot of leverage in those conversations, because I was able to say, hey, we've helped brands like Reebok, Oakley, and Nerf build NIL campaigns. Now we're pivoting that into a product that is going to help those types of brands do this at scale. So the narrative behind it was really strong because I had 3 years under my belt of building partnerships, just not a ton of actual revenue traction to show for it, or else I probably wouldn't have to be raising that money.
Yeah.
But that narrative helped big time. The network helped big time. I talked about that Syracuse Sport Business Conference that I had started back in sophomore year. I was always hustling to network and meet people. I was leveraging the Syracuse student tag to try and build relationships with people. And that was always the first thing I have gone to whenever I need to meet someone. I go back to that 2 year span of just networking my ass off for no real reason other than just to like I heard a couple times that your network is your net worth. And I guess that stuck with me. And we were able to bring
We're
in
gonna clip that out of this episode.
Yeah,
by the way.
please don't. That's I see that way too often. But I think that network, both a combination of my Syracuse and my Philadelphia network, those were the angels that we brought in because they believed in me and the vision more than they needed to look at a spreadsheet of numbers. And it takes time to build up that trust in people for them to like, be willing to make that investment. It either takes trust and time from a few individuals, or it takes those few individuals to then advocate for you to their closest, most trusted friends. And that's what happened in our angel round. It was a group of really people who just believed in me and the vision, that not only put their own check in, but they vouched to a group of others that, were looking for cool opportunities to get involved in.
Yeah. Well, especially because you were building a lot of those relationships without asking for something at the time. Like you,
Exactly.
yeah, like it's tough to go to somebody and ask for something when you need it versus like actually doing that when it's not necessary almost.
100%.
But no, I'm just wondering with that too, like not to stay on this topic, but what did that look like practically speaking? Like, were you going to them and, you probably can't say who necessarily invested in the business, but, like what's that process like of starting it and then them being like, Jack, here's a check for X number of dollars.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no. So I can speak about a couple of the investors, like specifically, one who was really our first angel check-in was, Matthew Lippman, who's the CEO at AFC Fitness. And he was that person that I referenced of, you need that like one person to buy in and advocate to a group of others. And he really like took myself and the business under his wing and helped us connect with angels from around the Philly area. Everyone needs people like Matt and to, believe in you, be the first one to believe in you, because the hardest part is getting that first domino to fall. And once you have backers behind you to be able to point to and stand up for you and give a testimony, it really does change the whole game. That was, massive for getting our first 250 grand in the door. And then over our next funding round, really escalated from angels at a more like family and friends level to strategic partners, because now we had 50-ish clients in the door. We actually went to clients, to supporters over that time since launch and brought in a few different partners to invest and bring others in from their network in. So it became more of a strategic play of trying to bring in capital from others who could help us really like pour more fuel on the fire.
Yeah. Cool. And then what do you, not being a startup founder myself, what do you use the money for? Like, where are you allocating that across?
I mean, we were really intentional about how much we raised, budgeted out to what we were spending it on and why we needed that capital. Like, I think of raising money, and I've been surrounded. So I started Out2Win out of a startup incubator at Syracuse, and I've been around other founders who have raised money for fun, like to like use it on the wrong things, like just because they can. And I was really intentional. Like, honestly, I took that as a lesson of what not to do when being around it. And I was really intentional.
They spend money on, what are they?
like not things worth saying on a podcast.
Like the festival. What's that?
Fire Festival. Yeah. No, but I was really intentional about, thinking of the investment that we were raising as investment that we were just like investing in other things that were going to help us. Like, how is each dollar that we're going to spend going to lead to a return on that investment? So we allocated our budget to things that, we believe are going to help us grow the business faster and better. And that's how we have used that money. So we think of it as, yes, runway, but also as, investment. Like, we're investing the investment in certain things that are going to help us increase our pace of product development and help us grow sales faster. And that was growing the team on both sales and engineering. And it was investing dollars in travel and different marketing to just help us get ourselves out there and really just help blow the roof off of Out2Win and its presence in the space.
Yep. It's great, man. It's just like, it's a really exciting time, I feel like, in college sports, because this is never, it's never, obviously never been a thing before, but now these athletes who are like, who knows what could happen down the road? They could get hurt, or they could be a bust in in professional sports. And there's this incredible opportunity to just make money while you're a college athlete.
Something like a really interesting tailwind that I see in the space is, growing up, every athlete was almost like trying to be a Hollywood star on the side. You'd see athletes starring in movies. Michael Jordan has Space Jam, and LeBron has Space Jam, and other athletes have these, they'll pop up as a guest star in a movie. And now what you see is athletes creating their own YouTube channels. I mean, starring in YouTube channels. You see athletes going on Mr. Beast's show, and it's like this evolution in front of our eyes from Hollywood into the creator economy, and athletes want to become faces in the creator economy more than they do Hollywood's in today's age. And I think that tailwind is making its way up to pro, a lot of which thanks to NIL and the way that it's allowed college athletes this opportunity to monetize their content creation on social media. And now you have kids coming into college with hundreds of thousands of followers. Like, that never existed when, kids were going up into college in past generations. So, you're coming into college already famous, having an owned audience on social media, and they're all creative ways to monetize on it now, thanks to NIL.
Yeah. What about, I know, like high school, you see all these high school kids that have, insane followings, and
you said it's table stakes.
I did say that. Yeah. But so the AI part of it, like, this is one of the things I have to dig into my notes, but I want to make sure I ask you about this, because the AI, like, how does that work? How does the AI work? Because that's another buzzword, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's incorporating AI into something. There's a lot of AI platforms. How does your artificial intelligence match these brands with potential athletes? Like, I'd love to hear how it works behind the scenes. Did you build it? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, it's using AI to streamline the way that brands can find the right fit for what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all different kinds of data on each individual athlete that breaks down their audience demographics, their past content, and what they've posted about, their hometown, their high school, their major, their their performance on the court, their performance off the court in past brand partnerships. And using AI, we're able to generate certain takeaways on each of those athletes, pretty much just enriching their profile into a searchable database. So brands are able to input what they're looking for in an athlete and find the best fit based on a combination of this, again, like, enriched summary of the athlete's profile and their Out2Win score, which is a proprietary algorithm that ranks how athletes stack up against each other as influencers. So that is pretty much it's not necessarily on a brand by brand basis. That's more so just like our dynamic score of, at a high level, at a surface level, how does this athlete perform against others as a social media influencer? And then you can get deeper into the athlete's audience demos and their content categories to really help and find the right fit, who has the highest Out2Win score and the most optimal price per post that you're looking to spend.
Okay. Yeah. So then what is most important of that, or what goes into the Out2Win score? Because obviously I heard you talking about this with, it might have been that podcast I brought up to you, but you were saying about the vanity metrics, like you see followers, but I'm sure engagement rate is very important, right? Like, who's commenting, who's liking. Actually, I don't even really know, what is engagement rate?
Yeah, it's a combination of likes, comments, and shares divided by followers.
Okay. I did not know that.
But I mean, what the interesting metric, like,
is that's on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on Instagram and TikTok is the way that engagement rate is typically calculated. Okay. But some use other calculations. But my favorite metric, a part of the Out2Win score, is posting frequency, because a lot of athletes will, not to like put anyone under the bus, but Bronny James will post like once every 6 months, and it's an ad, and because of that, his Out2Win score is lower because his posting frequency is lower. Whereas you have athletes who are genuinely content creators who are putting out content consistently in the eyes of a brand. And this is just based on surveying that we did when building the score. In the eyes of a brand, that's super valuable, because you want to be able to organically fit your product into content and not have it be the first post in 6 months or have it be the 8th ad in 2 weeks. So we calculate organic content on a weekly basis, and how many average posts you're putting out on a weekly basis.
Okay.
And that's a part of the score, combined with engagement rate, combined with sponsored post performance, so how your past brand deals have performed, and then just overall total following.
So then, like, that's just any post. Are you talking specifically an athlete post that is is related to a brand? Or are you just saying posting frequency, like if they're out with their friends, they're a baseball player, they're at the football game, they post something like
organic posting frequency? So you're just posting your own content, non-associated to a brand. When a brand is involved in the content, we then are calculating the engagement behind that to include in the algorithm. So it's a combination of how frequently are they posting organic content, how well is that organic content performing, and then comparing that to how well is your sponsored content performing, to help brands understand who the highest performers are in sponsored posts.
Okay. How do you think, what is that, what are some of are there any negatives that come from that too? Like if a college athlete is just recording their whole day, you were talking about that too, right? Like people want to see, and I agree with that. Like people want to see organic content. They may not want to see like you brushing your teeth every day, but they probably want to see maybe what is the day in the life of a Texas football player actually look like.
I think there's a fine line.
Like what is I was wondering about, because old school guys are like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But
there's just a stigma behind it.
I
think it's
maybe for good reason though.
I don't know. I think that there's a lowering stigma behind it. I actually spoke recently with an NFL quarterback who was telling me that he was a big content creator in college, went viral many times for like creative just content he was putting out, and then went to play in the NFL and like just kind of disappeared on social media. And I asked, I was like, well, why? Like, why do you draw back? And the reason was for just like the external pressure to focus on your sport. Of course it exists in college, but like when you're, playing pro ball, it's a whole new level. And then we started getting into how that stigma may be making its way out, because you have athletes like Jared McCain is my favorite example, who's like now made his way up to play professional, but he hasn't slowed down. He's still making content at the same clip. And I think we're going to see this evolution as like Jared McCain. There was a joke like Kyle Lowry was like bullying him for making content in the locker room. Like, hey, Kyle Lowry is retiring in a couple of years. Like the guys of that generation are on their way out, and the new generation's on its way in. How is that going to evolve over the coming years? My expectation is that the fine line is going to start moving, for better or for worse. For my business, maybe better. For the sports fan,
for the boomers, maybe not as much.
I mean, I saw like Grambling State played Ohio State yesterday, and they were like 60-point underdogs, but they were like posting TikToks before the game, just getting absolutely torn apart on social media for like, this is what you're doing before you're like going up against Ohio State. So there are always gonna be fans that come after you in the comment section, and they're athletes that have a fear of like getting caught in that. And then I think that athletes like Jared McCain, who have the courage to go do it anyways, are the ones who are going to remove that stigma eventually.
He's got he's courage. Yeah. Especially in a market like Philly. Yeah, you're right, because I guess it's kind of like Michael Jordan being in Space Jam back in the day. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's similarities to it a little bit.
It's definitely different, but it definitely has similarities.
A little bit. Yeah. Although Michael Jordan probably wouldn't be filming TikToks, maybe. Yeah. But What else I want to ask you about? Let's see. The, I guess like some of the other things that are on the horizon. Oh no, you know what I wanted to ask you about was Deloitte getting into the NIL space. Well, they're not getting into it, but they're almost like overseeing how NIL is paid out and just all the deals. Does that affect you? It has to, right?
Clearinghouse where every deal has to go through them, and there's a fair market value assessment that pretty much lets the deal go through or denies the deal going through. So pretty much Deloitte has taken on this like part of the space where they're the judge of whether or not a deal is fair or not. And there's been a lot, as you can imagine, a lot of controversy around that, because how are you going to decide what is a fair market value deal or not, when at the end of the day, the market is what someone's willing to pay. So there's been controversy popping up, like how is an algorithm supposed to tell you whether or not a deal is fair or not?
Sorry, I got a concert out here. It's just interesting because, how is Deloitte going to I don't know. It's like, how are the big corporations now?
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So every deal has to be submitted to this Deloitte NIL Go system that they've implemented, and they use an algorithm to decide whether or not it's in line with fair market value. And if it's not, the deal gets declined. If it is in line, it gets passed through. But now there's been this delay where athletes will have to wait potentially up to a week or more to have a deal approved. And we know how this influencer marketing space works. People are trying to move on moments. People want to move quick, and deals have gotten delayed. Deals have gotten canceled because the brand didn't have the time to wait for it to go through. So as someone involved in the space, from the influencer side of it, it is frustrating because that's limiting opportunity. But then when you look at the other side of the space where you have, a pizza shop owner, this is just a random example, but say there's a pizza shop owner who's an alum of the school and just wants to get an athlete paid and is going to have money funneled through his business to pay an athlete out thousands of dollars to come stand in a store for an appearance for an hour. That's just, it's pay to play hidden as a marketing deal. So Deloitte's system has been put in place to try and prohibit those types of activities.
Didn't they, but I was also just reading, didn't they over report a lot of didn't that just come out 3 days ago or something? Like they over reported. How does that happen?
Don't even know. There's that. I think that's the other frustrating part of like a system just being implemented like that I know that schools were put through their own training of sorts, but it's just like, it has so much implication on what can and can't happen. And a lot of it's just a mystery of like where the calculations are coming from. And like, so there's definitely just a lot of red flags around the whole way it's gone down. And it's frustrating for someone like me who's kind of just has no choice but to watch it all and hope that it doesn't negatively impact our business.
Yeah. That's totally out of your control. Like,
it's not entirely,
aspects of it are.
Aspects of it are, but the part of it that's within our control is ensuring that every brand that we're working with and every school agency are just fully informed of the implications. And that's like what we've done just to make sure that nothing's slipping through the cracks and there aren't any unnecessary issues that pop up.
So, all right, man, this is cool. We, in terms of the brand here, this report that you guys have is cool. Going to my notes here. The industry report. How did the team put this together, or did you really just put this together yourself? Because it's cool. Like, there's a lot of brands. I was just reading through this. Hollister still around.
Yeah.
That's probably a stupid thing to say, but
really, it's a compilation of the data within our platform. Like, that's how these sheets are built. It's really just for us, like, a look behind the curtain. It's just a marketing tactic for us to say, we're trying to sell this platform. We're going to show you tidbits of the data within it to, try and help you understand what you can get if you want to subscribe and come see even more of it. So like, that's all just like those top 10 brands that have activated over the last 6 months. It's just a cut down version of what you can find within our platform. And that's what users are actively, leveraging, is the data insights behind which brands are spending where, and what time of year are they investing their dollars, and who are they working with.
When you say users, that means the athletes.
No, it means the brands,
That's
talent
the brands.
agencies, and universities.
Yeah. See, that's got to be, all right, we were talking about this
Yeah.
off the mic here, but like that's got to be a lot. How do you manage balancing all of those?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but at the end of the day, they are all looking for very similar insights.
Mm.
And that's what we found, at least from building the platform. Like, we are, building one platform in a bit of different directions for each persona, but at the end of the day, it's all like stems from these insights around how marketable is a certain athlete, and like what kind of audience are they reaching on social media. So brands are using that data to go find the right fit, and agencies and universities are using that data to help open up opportunity areas to go pitch the right brands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all used by different people in different ways, but it's all used to the advantage of the different types of personas on the platform.
Yep. I know it makes a lot of sense but there are just like different aspects of it that I did not understand at all.
It's definitely complex for us as we're building the product to like make sure that we are intentionally doing it the right way for each persona. And it's a balancing act, but at the same time, each of these personas bring value to one another by being a part of that ecosystem, because brands can streamline the way that they connect with athletes through the agencies and universities, and vice versa. So while there is some balancing act while building a product for different personas at the same time, we are doing it mostly because, there's compounding value in having them each find value enough to come be a part of this ecosystem.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. One thing I was curious about too is, are there any, like, obviously there's men's basketball, there's football, even women's basketball right now. Like, those are sports that you would assume there's athletes are making a lot of money, or the brand deals are really lucrative, things like that. Are there any sports that you maybe wouldn't expect, or maybe it's not even at a sport level? It's like the individual athlete. There could be a swimmer at a certain school that's super marketable.
Yeah.
Is that kind of more of what it would be like?
The most marketable team in college sports is Nebraska volleyball. Like that.
But they played in the football stadium, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, volleyball in Nebraska is just
that's the most marketable.
Yeah. Team. We have Out2Win score metrics on teams as well, and Nebraska is the most marketable team in all of college, and the second most marketable is UConn women's basketball.
That one makes
more sense. And Nebraska women's volleyball, if you look at like down their roster in terms of marketability strength, like they are a star-studded team. And then you go and compare that to some of like the top men's basketball and men's football teams, and Nebraska like is out of their league in terms of just, one, like their marketability strength, but two, the dollars that they're bringing in. Maybe not in the the revenue sharing in the same way that some of these football players are now cashing in, but yeah, Nebraska volleyball is a force to be reckoned with in Out2Win score words.
That's crazy. It makes sense though. Well, I guess I don't know. I don't really watch much college volleyball, but like the clip, what was that, last year or 2 years ago, of them selling out the entire football stadium?
Yeah,
you're like, okay. And plus Big Ten volleyball, I guess, is probably the best. Actually, I can't speak to that. I don't know that at all. But
well, yeah. So there's women's volleyball. There's track and field, has a lot of really strong content creators, and
okay.
I mean, as does softball and rowing, and I mean, the different types of sports that you can find really marketable athletes within our platform is unbelievable. Like, we refer to it as diamonds in the rough. Like, within our platform, you can find like the hidden gems across all different schools, all different sports, thanks to this Out2Win score algorithm, which is helping you go find the Michigan field track and field runner who has a really strong Instagram or TikTok following, and the rower at Syracuse. It just like, it helps you uncover athletes that you didn't even know exist.
Is that, I guess, so it's Instagram. I know I kind of asked you about this already, but Instagram, TikTok, do athletes have like YouTube channels and things
Yeah,
of that sort these
it's
days? Or
growing slowly but surely. I think that we're going to see a lot more of it over the next year. We specifically focus on Instagram and TikTok because that's currently where brands are investing their dollars. But I do see some evolution. Like I anticipate evolution coming over the next year or more of just more YouTube activity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There was that whole TikTok scare where people thought it might get deleted, and some started like uploading all their content to YouTube instead, just to have like as a backup.
Yeah.
And I do think it opened a lot of creators' eyes up to like the lack of sustainability, or really just the fact that it could drop at any second, and you need to be ready to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And it led to creators, athlete influencers expanding their portfolio to other social channels. And as a business for us, like we've even looked at it too, and expanding across YouTube, X, TikTok, X, Twitter, and other social channels that are out there that athletes either are already creating on or soon will be.
Mm-hmm. That's cool, man. So I was curious about this too. So if there's a college football player, a college basketball player, this is more so just general NIL, I guess, but if they, what does that landscape look like right now? Like say St. John's Hoops, obviously they have a big backing with the body, right? And like say there's a recruit that's going there. Are they getting the brand deals up front as well, like heading into college, or are they signing multi-year contracts that's coming from a collective? Or does that make sense? Kind of what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Like,
so I mean,
they coincide.
It differs.
Okay.
For example, Beats by Dre just came out with their class of 2025 for the football season. Those deals aren't a part of any contract that a school signs with the athlete, because that's the brand investing legitimate marketing dollars that they are seeking return on investment in with however they're measuring it. So Ryan Williams, who's a part of the Beats class this year, didn't sign a deal with Alabama for that Beats deal. That's just directly between him and the brand. Whereas Alabama, within their rev share cap, so they have $20.5 million that they can spend on across all athletes, across all sports, which to me is crazy. It's like thinking in Philly sports terms, like if all Philly sports had one budget to spend across all their teams and they decide where they were going to invest more dollars, that
it's kind of nuts.
That can get a little dicey. But so that's what rev share dollars are. So Alabama is paying Ryan Williams as if he's a contractor for the school. On top of that,
that's coming out of that 20.5, right?
That's coming out of the 20.5. And then if an athlete wants to make more than they're earning within that rev share, that's where the brand deal dollars help them get paid above the cap. Schools, in order to have a stronger recruiting class, in order to provide more value to incoming recruits, are building out different arms to bring in brand deals for their athletes, because they know that if you want to go get a top athlete in the country, it's going to take more than what you can possibly pay them within the cap. So you're going to have to bring in additional resources to help them get, marketing deals that are going to keep them satisfied.
So because that goes up, the cap goes up a couple percentage points every year, right? For the next few years?
Yeah.
Okay. Where, in your opinion, where is that going to go over the next couple years?
Truthfully, I have no idea, because I just don't even know how
you have a crystal ball.
It all is. Yeah, I don't know. And like I said, it's not really the side of NIL that we're involved in.
Yeah.
For a reason too, because there's such a uncertainty. It's really tough to build a business behind uncertainty. So one thing I know is true is influencer marketing is not going anywhere. And that's, what we are building for the future of influencer marketing within the sports marketing ecosystem. So not necessarily are we building an NIL platform. We're really building an influencer marketing platform within sports, starting in college athletics. That's the way that I like to explain what we're doing. But oftentimes NIL is just an easy buzzword to get people to like attach what you're doing to the current event.
A lot of buzzword. We got NIL, AI, mixing them all in here. Yeah. But so you said starting with college. Yeah. You said starting with college athletics. Is that something that you think the next few years you might be in professional sports and even downstream? Like,
Yeah,
High school?
yeah, so we've actually already begun expanding into both pro and high school,
Okay.
and we plan to speed up that expansion over the course of the next 6 or so months, because again, brands are investing their influencer budgets within sports. They aren't just doing it with college athletes. They're trying to get the right representatives to promote their brand on social media.
Mhm.
That's not just limited to college athletes, and it's not just limited to pro athletes. It's really just all influencers who have a fan base that is, really fans of sports, at least like fans of consumer brands, because that's who they're trying to reach.
Yeah.
So yes, we do plan on expanding beyond into the general sports marketing economy. So that's sports personalities, from pro athletes to high school athletes to the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, hypothetically. And then, beyond that, there's unlimited, infinite opportunity within the general creator economy. But we'll see what we can do within sports first.
Okay. Before you branch into Stephen A. But so hypothetically speaking, with that, Stephen A. would be on your platform, or like he would meet these brands in the middle, or no, you would break down, like, based on Stephen A.'s, he would have an Out2Win score. It'd be like, these are the brands that would partner best based on his engagement.
You could compare him to Pat McAfee and see what type of audience demos he reaches and what type of sentiment analysis he has on social media to try and analyze whether or not he's the right fit for your brand.
Mm.
And, all these brands, think about all the different commercials and partnerships that you see across sports on a daily basis. Those brands are making decisions around, that's not the only athlete they looked at. They're looking at different athletes, trying to decide who's the right fit to become the representative of my brand. We're providing the data intelligence to help you make the smartest possible decision by looking at all angles of the athlete's holistic off the field marketability.
Yeah. It's cool, man. Is anybody else doing that? Like, it seems like I'm sure that I don't even know, because I'm not in that industry necessarily, but that's probably what marketing, like, athletes would partner with some kind of marketing company that would match them up.
Yeah. There are a lot of sponsorship intelligence platforms that help you look deeper into, putting up a billboard in a stadium. Like, is this the smartest investment versus investing my sponsorship dollars here?
It's got to be data driven.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, there are a lot of influencer intelligence platforms that are general to the creator space. So it's helping you find the fashion or the beauty influencer. And if you go on, Creator IQ is one of the bigger ones. If you go try and search for a basketball player on there, and I actually saw this one time on a screen share from a brand, Nicki Minaj is the first search result. Type in basketball player, you see Nicki Minaj. So discoverability isn't there on the general creator platforms. The influencer intelligence isn't there on the sports sponsorship intelligence platform. So we're building something at the epicenter of both, helping brands make smarter decisions within their sports influencer partnerships.
Awesome, man. Cool. You've educated me a lot on this, Jack, in like an hour here. What excites you about what's next with Out2Win,
I'll tell you what excites me, and I'll tell you what scares me. What excites me is the unknown. What scares me is the unknown. There's a lot of unknown when building a startup, and I spoke about the pressure of trying to build a startup when you had this like lack of runway to that you're like, when I was in school trying to decide, am I going to take this full time? And now, fast forward 2 years, the pressure that I feel, of course, there's similar pressures around like building this into a business that's sustainable. But now it's not just myself I'm worried about. We have a full-time team of 9.
Mm-hmm.
We have investors that have put money into the company. We have supporters that have been following us along for 4+ years. So there are a lot of external pressures when thinking about, and of course, not to mention there are brands, universities, agencies relying on us to help them build smarter partnerships. So there's a lot of external pressure that, can weigh on you as a first-time founder, figuring out a lot of things as you go. I mean, every single day I'm learning something new. I'm running into certain obstacles that I'm facing for the first time. So, there's a lot, I guess back to like the early conversation, being a founder, being an entrepreneur isn't as glamorous as it sometimes seems from the outside. there's a lot of risk, but then on the flip side, there's a lot of reward if you can build something the right way. And that's of course what we're trying to do, but you know, with it comes risk, and there's a balance between the excitement and just, you know, we're all human. There's a good balance between the fear and the anxiety of the unknown.
You seem you're still going.
Yeah,
You seem like you're pretty good at, or you have a pretty nice, not nice, but a pretty strong appetite for risk, considering.
I guess so.
Yeah, considering from Syracuse. Yeah, that had to be tough. Anyway, we'll start to wrap up, but I just know when I was 22, I was like ready to get a job, get a corporate job, and just go to the shore with some of my buddies.
Never was. I really never was. I honestly, I've never had a corporate job, which is crazy to me because I'm trying to build a corporate culture, having never been a part of one. So there are pros to that.
But you're not trying to build a corporate culture.
I'm trying to build a culture, which does feel like it's, you know, not corporate, but like a work environment, which can be difficult at times when you've never been a part of one. So I think that allows me to work from a blank canvas and do things my way versus, you know, maybe subconsciously doing it by what I've learned. But then, of course, like I said, I'm learning new things. Like on my way here, I got a call from our medical insurance provider asking me to renew a contract and taking me through some different types of contractual things that I'm like, yeah, this is my first time. This is my first time having a conversation like this. I have a bunch of those on pretty much a daily basis at this point, and
it's fun.
It's fun, but it's scary and overwhelming at times. But that's the life we signed up for as founders.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, you're getting a crash course in all of it right now, just because you're building it. So good for you, man. All right, Jack. Well, dude, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that we were connected again. Like I saw you at the Sports Business Leaders meetup, and you've been an integral part, I know, of that community. Don't want to speak for those guys, but I'm sure they're happy that you're a part of that and just kind of like making introductions for that as well. Yeah. Again, but what about, so last question, and then we'll wrap up. You're a big Philly sports guy. You have a favorite, all-time favorite Philly sports athlete?
Dang, that's honestly tough. I mean,
wasn't in the notes I sent you, so I'll hit you with them.
In the present time, I mean, we're coming off a big win against Dallas Thursday as reigning Super Bowl champions. It's really tough to call this guy my favorite Philly athlete of all time, but right now, Jalen Hurts has to be up there. If we're going all time, like I'm naturally like taken back to, you know, like I would say my favorite Philly athlete of all time is probably Nick Foles, because that guy just like saved the city of Philadelphia single-handedly.
He did.
So that's a really tough question that you put me on the spot with there, that I hope isn't clipped up anywhere, but that's what I'm going with.
Okay. I'll make that a YouTube short. And, cool, man. Yeah, Nick Foles. He's doing a podcast too. So Nick
Aren't
Foles.
we all, man? We're all doing podcasts.
We all are. If you're not doing a podcast these days, what are you doing? But
they're fun. I'll give them that. They're fun.
Yeah, this is cool. So, all right, dude, thanks. Best of luck. Like, continued success, man. I know we'll keep keep seeing at these events, but it's great. Just, I know you said that it's scary and it's also exciting, but like, how many people can say that they're building a company at the very start of like when essentially an industry has unraveled here? So,
and start of, you know, my career too, which is the cool like combination of the two.
Yeah,
it's allowed me to become, you know, a pseudo expert in a space at, you know, the age of 24, which, you know, you don't get unless the opportunity like that falls in your lap, which it did for me at Syracuse. So there's definitely, you know, bits of luck involved in it too, of just right place, right time.
Hey man, right place, right time. So, all right, cool, brother. Appreciate you. Yep.